Jim, mukhang si Jessie na ang mag-FB live sa kanila. Kasi medyo mahina bandwidth sa site.
Okay, sige. Alright, so let's just wait for JRNR. Thanks, Shaq.
Damang galis mo po.
Oh, Total Philippines.
Pila ka mo.
Hindi, dito na.
Dito ba yung nasa sila?
Isa na lang siguro ta diri, parang bawasan na tong bandwidth.
Oo. Fine sila tayo. I-mark up yung isa.
Oo, isa na lang ta, sabay na ta diri. Kita tanan. Kay namatay ang live stream sa FB, men.
Pwede ba na sila pa-record?
Oo, nag-recording ako.
Okay, I think we can start. So for JRNR, JR, let's just do this, and we will be recording the session. And I'll put you as the point person to help yung Baisa site to be onboarded on how to do the geotagging. So let me just share my screen and also record the session.
Hello.
Nabuhi na.
Okay. Alright, so hello, hi everyone, good afternoon. So I'm here in the meeting. Together with us is the STACKBOX team as well. So we have Abhishek here, and the objective primarily of the session is to do the STACKBOX geotagging training. And the agenda for today. So we'll go through the Salesman app, and then we'll do the geotagging process, supervisor app training, so that we teach as well the supervisors as well as IT on how to maximize the portal. We'll do a quick reports overview to show you what reports you'll be receiving on a daily basis, how to also leverage and maximize those reports. And then we go through what will be, the support structure once we have started the geotagging, even next week, right? When we start to download and test the application. And then lastly, we'll end it with some reminders for the project. So before I move on, Manish, would you like to give a quick, overview of why we're doing this? Why is it important?
Yeah. Jim, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon everyone. I think a lot of people in the call might be hearing me for the first time. So let me quickly introduce myself. I am Manish. I have just taken over as the new GTM leader for Philippines. And I am right now in India. I'm waiting for the ECQs and GCQs to get over so that I can travel over to Manila very soon. Okay, so that's about me. Now coming to the project, I will quickly state what is the objective and why are we doing this, right? So as you all would have seen, bulk of your sellers and your energy goes in driving your HFS business, and all of us would want that business to keep on getting better. However, what we have seen, and we have data in terms of the number of stores where the business is less than 100 pesos a month, and there is a huge opportunity. That objective, what we are trying to do is trying to build for the future, wherein we will be able to service these stores not better
Lunch.
than what we are doing.
Heavy.
Di siya sa Singapore.
Diri sa tuwa, ang inay.
Okay.
Internet. Gikat na gaya na akong stream.
First step in the process is ensure we trust Prasad, and that is what tagging process will do. So STACKBOX is the partner with whom we are doing this work. They've already done complete work on this in North Luzon, and with those plugins, we come to you and we month in all urgency so that we can, we have a lot of exciting things coming up in our, for our HFL stores and in our HFL business, and for all of that, this is the basis. Okay, so Jim, over to you.
Yeah, thanks Manish. Alright, so without further ado, I think we can already start with the geotagging process. So, Abhishek, can you test your audio?
Hi Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
So you'd like me to demo the process once?
You can go through the site first and then you can do the actual demo via the app.
Sure, okay. So can you just move the slides as I speak?
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay, right. So the first process, hi everyone, this is Abhishek from STACKBOX team, and I'll just be walking you through the geotagging process today, right? So the first process obviously will be, there's an Android application. The link for the application will be shared to everyone. So this application needs to be installed in all the salesman PDAs. Once the application is installed, the salesman password, the login and password IDs will also be shared. Each salesman has a unique ID and password. So they will log in with their IDs and they will see the stores in the application. They will start the geotagging process as I will explain. And while they're doing the geotagging process, you will be able to monitor the process and what has been covered on each day. A report will also be sent out daily summarizing the process for the day. Okay. Jim, can you go to the next slide? Right. So the link for the application will be shared to you. The first time the application is installed, there will be some Android warnings. Please click on OK and proceed. Right. So asking for permissions to install the application, asking for location permission, those kind of permissions, please accept it and go forward. Okay. And then log in with the login provided. Next slide.
Before I move on, so the login, I've already shared with the rest of the ID managers. So it's with the distributors already. And the login should be fairly straightforward. It's the same login ID as SFA, except with an S at the start, so that it's easy for the sellers to remember their logins. Go ahead, Abhishek.
Yes. So the first time, it says out there username, password, phone/username. They will be entering the username, which will be S, and then the IV number, and then they will be entering the password. The first time they need to enter the username. After that, the application will remember the username. They just need to enter the password. Go ahead. Right. As I said, there will be some permissions required from the Android. So the first permission will be for the location services. Please switch that on. We want the location services to be on always so that the geotagging process is effective. Right? And some phones you might, if the user has set the location services to be only mobile tower, then they need to go and change it to high accuracy mode. By default on Android it is high accuracy mode, but if they have changed it, they might need to go and change that. Right? Now once they log into the app, the stores will appear color-coded in different colors. So I will just explain you the color coding. All the stores we want it to be green in color at the end of the day. And the old geotags that you have already captured are loaded in my system. But since the geotagging doesn't take much time, I would recommend that you just geotag all the stores afresh, in which case we'll have the geotags with the photographs and everything. Okay, that's good. Right. So when they log in, this will be the screen that they see. So on top you see market. By default, today's market will be selected, all the stores in today's market. They can click on that and change it if they for any reason they want to select a different market. All the retailers will appear listed. The color coding you see out here is red. I will explain the color coding meaning. You will see the retailer code, the name and the address. Right? At the end of the page, you see how much geotagging has been done for this market and how much is pending. And you also see buttons to see the map view, the entire map view for the day, and to add any new retailers. Okay. Right. Now coming to the color coding. So any retailer which is color coded in red, it means that it has not been geotagged even once. We do not have the lat long for this retailer. Right. Sky blue color coded retailers means it has been geotagged once. That means we have the lat long of the retailer, but it needs to be re-geotagged for whatever reason. So most of the retailers in Philippines which have already have the geotag will appear sky blue in color. Right. Yellow means the phone number has not been verified for the retailer. I will come back to the phone number verification process. A dark blue color, this will be very infrequent. This is only for the time duration that after the geotagging is done and the information has not been synced to the STACKBOX server. Manual syncing is not required, but depending on the network connection, it might require a couple of seconds for the data to sync with our server. And it syncs automatically. Right? And green means the store is completely geotagged, the data is synced, and the phone number is also verified. Okay, Jim? Right. Now, how the geotagging process takes place. So once you click on the retailer card, this page will open up, which lists the different fields of the retailer. The first is the store name, which will be pre-filled. The contact person, the salesman will have to fill. The address, if we have it already, it will be pre-filled. Same with the store owner name. If you already have that information, it will be pre-filled. Then there's a fourth question, which is the name of the frequently visited wholesaler. So this is something that you need to type out there. And after typing, you will click on next.
Yeah, so before we proceed, so this one is an additional field. So the request is that for the sales team, right? So for the sellers, that we fill in where they usually their wholesale refill point. So this is where they can input that so that we get that detail.
So in this case, the sale or IMR wholesale door where they source their product aside from the seller, correct? Yep.
Yes, it is the most frequently visited stock refill point, essentially.
Got it.
Okay, yes. So once you click next, a window opens up to capture what time the store is closed. So if the store is closed on a Sunday, you would click X on top. If it is closed on Thursday, let's say at 1 p.m., 1 to 2, you would click Thursday 1 to 2, and that will turn red to mark that the store is closed on that day. You can go to the next one. Yeah, so if let's say the store is closed between from 12 and 1, you can click on the numbers to mark it closed at that time for the entire week. Right? And if it is closed on every, let's say, Wednesday, you just click on W on top to mark it closed for every day. This clear? Yeah. After filling the store closure time, you will click on next, and two cards will open up, which are used to capture the which are used for mobile verification, and the photograph of the store. The location of the store is automatically obtained once the photograph is captured. Right? So on the first card, you will fill in the phone number of the retailer. Until next. Right. Once you fill in the phone number, you will click on SMS, and an SMS will be sent to the retailer number. You will receive a code. That code you need to enter out here, and if the code matches, the phone number will be verified. This is just to ensure that the
OTP.
salesmen are actually capturing correct numbers of the retailer. If for some reason, let's say they are not receiving the SMS, you can capture the phone number and click on skip OTP, in which case the OTP process will be skipped. You can select the reason why the OTP was skipped, and the store will appear as a yellow color coded. At any stage later on, this process can be completed. If later on, let's say the OTP function is working, you can complete this process later on.
Jane question, Eric here. Yes. When you type the phone number, so you just type the number, there's no plus 3 at the start, so just the phone number, the Philippine phone number, correct?
Yep, 0917 or
Okay, that's it.
0955.
So no need to type plus 63, correct?
But Abhishek, that's right. Correct. Have you tested that one?
Jim, we will test this once the SMS gateway is set up.
Okay. Yeah. So Eric, I'll back to you on that one. I'll use it down as a next step.
If there is any pretext, we can set it up in our system so that you don't need to enter the pretext every time. But
Okay, thank you.
I know.
Support pa na sa ako.
Yep, exactly. Based on experience. Okay. Yep. But I'll list that one. Thanks, Eric.
Gusto mag-okay to din.
Just to reinforce, we have an option of skipping phone numbers, but that should be used only in exception situations where the store hasn't given details. For all our tracking, we will only measure stores with valid geotags and phone numbers, and for everyone, we are also building, as I said, we are building additional capabilities in terms of tele-sales and all of that for our HFS coverage, and phone number is an essential criteria for that. We request you to not skip this at all. Okay? Thank you.
Yes, so the next card is for taking the photograph of the store. So you click on the camera icon, and once you click on the camera icon, the camera app will open up. You cannot upload a photo, the photograph has to be taken with the camera at that time. So you take a photograph of the store. I will come to some guidelines for taking the photograph, and you take on the tick mark, you select it, and the photograph is captured. Then you will see two circles with two numbers of it. One is 12 and one is 14, right? Or 10 and 16. Now the first circle represents the geotagging accuracy required by our system to ensure a good photograph. And the second number represents the current geotagging accuracy of the device, right? So initially the geotagging accuracy will be a bit higher, let's say 20 meters, and it will slowly start reducing. Once it reduces below the threshold, it will turn green and you can submit the geotag. This is just done to ensure that the geotags are accurate, let's say at least accurate up to 12 to 15 meters. And if there is some issue so that the geotagging accuracy is at that location is not very good, right? Let's say it's a hilly area, or it's a very cloudy day, or it's indoors in some kind of market, then our system gives some flexibility, and the tolerance which you see is 12 meters, that will increase over time, let's say to 15, 20, 25 meters over time. So it will try and get the most accurate geotag, and it does get, but there's a limit to which it will increase. I think it will increase only up to 30 meters for you to allow to capture the geotag. Is that clear?
Another question, Jim, related to this phone number. If the customer changes phone number, is there an option to change the number also?
Yep, I think they can either update it via the app again, or they can do it via the portal. But Abhishek, maybe you can add if there's another option.
Yeah, currently, so what we do is once a phone number and a location is set, we do not allow the salesman to change the phone numbers directly. At the back end, it needs to be enabled that this is to be done again. That is, the ITM will have the access to that on the portal. and then the salesman can do it.
Sure.
The salesmen do not do it directly. So once the location and phone number is captured, it is stored, that is set. To change it, first in the portal, you need to give permission to re-geotag or re-verify the phone number, and only then it can be changed.
Maybe my recommendation is provide a step-by-step process that we can provide to the applicants for this one.
Andrew here.
Yep. Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, question on this one. Does the system have a check on duplicate phone numbers? Because I was just thinking I can send the OTP to myself, right? All the time.
Yes, it has a check, and duplicate phone numbers are rejected.
Got it.
Any other questions?
But if the customer is an owner of two stores, and the customer gives you the same phone number,
Question. If that's the case, then maybe
In that
we
case,
track it na.
we will have to fix it at the back end. Ideally, as per the algo, one of the numbers will be accepted, one will get rejected, and for special cases, as we said, items will have the access, and maybe they can map it later on. But I think these will be exceptions versus the rule, Eric, right?
Manish, there's a question in the chat, and I think you answered this already, right? If there is no phone number that the customer can give, they can skip. It will be flagged, and then we can manage the exemption, right?
Yep, just the reason code.
As, the geotagging process is still not complete for the store.
Okay. You mean that complete manage, it will not show up on the map, or it will show up on the map?
It will show, as per the color codes that Abhishek was showing, it will not be green color coded. The process is still not complete there. It will be in one of those blue colors.
Yellow color, phone not verified.
Okay, so we have multiple colors.
Right. In case of store is already geotagged, you need geotag. So when you click on the card, the default page that opens up is the location of the store and the information. You can click on the pencil icon, on the edit icon on top to edit the store. So once you click on the pencil icon, the same form, the capturing part opens up. Now, a general guideline on how to take good photographs, because these photographs will also be required for other purposes. So the first thing is that we want to take the store photograph from the front of the store, not inside the store, and we want possibly the board of the store, if it is there, to be shown, or at least the entire view of the store to come in picture, right? That is the main idea. So that even later, if the salesman changes or the delivery agent changes, it's very easy for them to recognize the store. I think there's some question.
Yeah. The question here is there a way to manually set coordinates for stores? This is for areas with poor cellular signals. So the advice here really is, if this is, let's say, public markets, for public markets, you should be doing this somewhere with like really good. Typically, the reason why there's no good signals because it's inside, indoors, and there's really good insulation inside. So what, as a workaround for public markets, you can do outside. Take a photo from the outside. Also get the coordinates from the outside. So I'm not sure, other than this one, I think Abhishek, you'd have more experience on like hilly areas. What are the things that were done for those cases?
Yeah, so we've seen that even in hilly areas, right, barring a few circumstances where initially there was a complaint, the salesmen were able to geotag in almost all cases. Unless, let's say, the device GPS is like very old and it is not able to do the geoaccuracy of the device itself is bad. With newer devices, we've not faced the issue in hilly areas also. That should not be the case. The default or the manual setting of coordinates, we do it the first time we set up the stores. The first time we set the stores, we add the geotags. But again, it is not counted as geotag stores. We enter the coordinates, but it doesn't come under the geotag category because we don't have a photograph or it is not stacked, geotagged by STACKBOX.
Okay, and there's another question. For photographs, what if the store has no name board or signage?
Yes, and that will be in a lot of cases. It is acceptable. It's just that you want to probably take the photograph from outside the store, showing the entire boundary of the shop, right? Let's say all the four walls of the shop, possibly, or you take it from the front-facing view of the shop, not inside the shop. If it has a board, well and good. If it doesn't have, then there's nothing you can do. But just cover all faces of the shop. So I'll just show you some examples of photographs that are accepted or not accepted, and then you'll get a good idea. Right, so just coming to photographs which are not allowed. Yeah, the first one is don't cover the camera with a screen guard or something so that the photographs are blurry. Don't take the photograph of only the board. You want the entire photograph, right? So don't take photographs of only the board or only the inside part of the shop. These kind of photographs will not help much. Then can you go to the next slide? Just quickly go through the photograph types. Right? So this is something that probably is okay, right? Even if the board is not covered, as long as all four corners of the store are visible, this is acceptable photograph. Next slide. Yeah, in the previous one, we said that photograph is not allowed because although there is a board, purposefully the board photograph is not taken, right, for any reason. So in this case, the board is there, but still you did not take a photograph of the board. That's why this says photograph not allowed. You just go back, go ahead. Yeah, things like this, blurry photographs, photographs of the ground. Certainly not take such photographs. Again, photographs where the board or store is unclear with a lot of light coming from the photograph is complete. No point taking these photographs, right? It doesn't help anything. Right, in this case, again, the board exists, but not taking the board purposefully. That is something you want to do. Or again, only the photograph of a board, or probably it might not even be a board, just a photograph of another photograph, or a photograph of a picture or something. Those kind of things shouldn't be done. Obviously, things of photograph of random images like a laptop or the ground, the scooter, some wall, those things will automatically get geotagged, automatically get captured. So the system has AI quality, AI checks built in, wherein bad quality images, they are detected. Obviously everything is not detected, but things like photograph of the sky, or if the camera is covered, photographs of the ground, of a closed shop, of some random objects, those things are captured. Right? Inside the shop is something which sellers tend to do a lot. This photograph also shouldn't be taken. We don't want the photograph of the shopkeeper. We just want of the shop. Right? Some cases you just write the store name on a paper and take that photograph. That should also be avoided. Yeah. These are cases where purposefully the seller is trying to cover the camera. In the first case you can see the camera is covered. The second case these red type of photographs appear when the camera is covered with a finger. So these all will be detected to go do this. Shuttered shops, where like a couple of shops, if they are closed when you're doing the geotagging, it is understandable. But taking most of the shops as only the shuttered shops, these are not acceptable.
Hello, Jane, question.
Yep.
Yes, so when you take the picture, is there a way to look at the picture before you finalize it so that you will know whether the picture taken is acceptable or not?
I think it's the app that rejects the picture automatically, Abhishek, right?
No, the app doesn't automatically reject the picture because that requires some processing at the back end. The salesman will be able to see the picture before submitting, and also the leader, the STLs or whoever is in charge, they can review the photographs also.
Okay, got it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Abhishek, can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's in iFilm. You can continue it. So photographs of the floor, not acceptable. Something like this, clear view of the store. This is a good image. Yeah, as I was saying, photographs which are not correct, the system will identify it. Although it is not real time, at a later stage it is identified and they are marked for re-geotagging, in which case the salesman needs to do the geotagging process again.
How soon is what's the turnaround time for this image compliance thing? After how many days will they be flagged as off quality?
So there are a couple of processes in this. So the ones which are like simple, they are identified fairly soon, right? Things which are completely automated, like out of focus, ground, etc. So within, let's say 2 to 3 days, these can be flagged. It's a separate process, but it is not real time.
But Jane, manage. Can we request that we have a regular, at least a regular drumbeat on the feedback on this one, and hopefully this data will be in before the big PDCA of the HFS teams, right? So that this can then be a conversation in their PDCA, and they can have spend time to talk about what to redo from a picture taking standpoint. Makes sense.
Yep. Drew actually we'll discuss that during the report's overview, but since we're talking about it, is there a recommendation in terms of the timing of sending of the report?
Unless, I think most of the time there's a Saturday big group meeting, there's a Saturday daily PDCA, I'm kidding, a Saturday weekly PDCA unless people do it on a Friday. So if it's a Saturday, good Friday, sending out of the report would be good. Unless any other, anyone here will be willing to do.
Fair feedback, Drew. So just hold on to this. When we get to the report section, that is when we can understand from Abhishek in greater detail on how frequently will this get updated. Because there will be reports that will come daily, there will be reports weekly. So let's stop this when we get there. And then we take all the inputs that we
got it, my friend. I'm taking the time away.
Thank you.
Abhishek,
Yes.
continue.
Yes. Is there any slide after this?
I'm showing photographs acceptable. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you're...
Yes. So yeah, these are just some example of photographs which are acceptable. You can go through them.
Okay. So before we go to the portal management, I'll let you share your screen, Abhishek, so that you can go through quickly, like in the app, like what it looks like, so that people also see that it's not as time consuming.
Yes.
Hello, Geo. So, can you see the screen? Hello.
Hello.
I just have.
For downloading the images, I think that can be done via the portal. And then the portal management training that we have with ITM should cover that one.
Okay, so let me just give you a demo of the app. I think all of you can see my screen.
Yes, Abhishek, I can see it.
Right. So once the salesmen log in, this will be the screen that they see. This lists down all the stores in the market. So the market, if I click on the market pane, by default, the market for today's calendar, as per today's calendar, will be selected. And they can change to any of those numbers. So I can go to the market number 1, number 2. Whichever is selected is has a star mark on that. Right. Come to today's market.
Just to add perspective to this one, Abhishek. So market is like your route number. For the purpose of the sales guys here, so if I choose, let's say 1, it's typically your Monday route. 2 is your Tuesday route, and so on. So for this is in particular for F4 stores because there's only 6 routes. If you're a van seller, then there's typically like 12 routes in the MKT or market button that they can choose from.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Yes. So you will see the stores in this color format. So as I said, red color stores, they have not been geotagged even once. So if I click on the store, the form opens up. The store name is filled. You can edit the contact person. Okay. You can add an address. And the form which is for Philippines we've added, which is the most frequented or most frequently visited wholesaler. So you can put the wholesaler name and click on next. Right? The next window that opens up is to capture the store closure time. So let's say the store is only closed on Saturdays between 1 and 2. I will click Saturday 1 and 2 p.m. I'll mark it as closed. If it is closed every day between 1 and 2, I can click the number 13 and 14 to say it is closed at that time. If it is closed every Saturday, I can click on S to mark it as closed, right? And I will click next. Next, 2 cards open up, which is the phone number and the photograph, right? Now, in my case, in this case, since the phone number of the store was already added, it is populated from before. If you want to change it, you can change it, or if it is blank, you can fill in the number. Right, so you fill in the number and say SMS. SMS will go to the phone number that is provided. Right, I receive the delivery code. I fill that and the phone number is verified. The second step that I do is I will take a photograph. So I will click on the icon and the camera app will open up. I will take a photograph of the store. Click OK. Now you see these 2 cards, right? One is the current geotagging, one is the accuracy of the device, which is in 28-29 meters. Now it's high because I'm inside the house. And the second is the system required app. Okay. Chris. That, if you see, it's started off with a low, and it becomes green, I can submit it, and that's it. So initially you see it is dark blue in color, that store. Once the data is synced with my server, it will turn green. Now it's turned green. Clear so far? Any doubts on this? So if you see stores which are blue in color, these stores, we have the background earlier, but it needs to be geotagged again. So if you click on the card, what the salesman will see is initially the route from their current location, which is in the blue dot, to that store. Now, if they want to edit it, they will click on the pencil icon, and then the same form will open up to do the entire process, right? The contact person, address, these fields you can fill up. You go next and fill up the remaining fields, right? Simply. The yellow stores, they are the ones in which the phone number is not verified. So if you click on that, again you see the direction, and if you click on the pencil icon, you can fill it whatever was not filled up earlier. So I can fill up the store closure timing, I can fill up the phone number. Let's say in this case I want to do skip OTP, I'll click on skip OTP and I'll say select the reason and submit it. Because I've skipped OTP, this will remain yellow in color. Okay. And the green color ones, if I click on that, you see that we see the direction, and when we click on the pencil icon, all we are able to capture is the store closure time.
Game question. So after you have done the entire process of geotagging, that data logging into SFA, such that every time you call into the store, that the STACKBOX system will now determine whether you're calling on the right location or not.
That's the end vision. So today, the STACKBOX application is primarily used to geotag stores because of its accuracy, and also its stick-way matching to be able to identify, let's say, things like duplicate stores. What we have started to do, though, on the other hand, is to actually try and integrate IV sales data into this portal, into the STACKBOX portal, so that when sellers are actually passing by or calling inside the store, so they spend time there, and you would see that later on in the supervisor dashboard, that you are able to see where the seller is actually at a certain point in time. Then you can match it with, like, let's say the sales that was made into that store. And then there's a report that we're also building, which is called a red flag report. There you would be able to also have a view on, say, is a store with sell out, but then it was not even passed by the seller based on, the routes inside STACKBOX, so things like that. So that's being worked on in the back end, but right now it's not as straightforward as how you have mentioned.
Just to add so what we have kept is JAS over July or August, we will do the geotagging, and sometime starting November, we should be doing what we call a call compliance report, which is essentially what you are saying. Okay, so where was the call made in respect to where the store is, right? So that is in scope.
Thank you, Manish.
Now, in case the salesman wants to add another store, a new store is there. Yeah. In case there is a new store on his route, he can click on the plus icon and add the store. So he will fill up all the details as the existing details, right? So you can click the plus icon for that. And if he wants to see all the stores on his route today, he can click on the map icon, which will open a map of all the stores in his route today. Anything else? Any further questions on the geotagging process?
I think, Abhishek, there's one question on the chat, which is, does it get automatically synced? I think that's regarding the color coding.
Yes. So as I said, so I also showed that, right? This store, when I geotagged it, it was dark blue for some time, and then automatically it turned to green. So that little bit time taken to sync from the phone to my server. During that time, it will remain dark blue and it will turn to green once the syncing is done. So syncing is automatic. You don't need to press any button. In case for any reason, if it doesn't happen, the button is there. So you can click on the menu icon and press the sync button.
Hello, Jane. Eric here. I would just like to maybe give a comment to OEMs that when we deploy these to our tenders, we need to emphasize that it is very important that they do this properly and the data is accurate, because that will become the basis in the future of determining whether they're calling on the right door or not. Yeah.
And actually, that's valid. Thanks, Eddie. Any other questions on the geotagging process? If there's none, Abhishek, we can actually do in the interest of time, we can do the demo first of the supervisor view, just so they see like how they can leverage and maximize the supervisor view as well. And then the slide that we will be sharing with everyone so they can go through that as a refresher.
Sure. Just before I proceed, I'd like to show one more thing. So this can help in troubleshooting anytime if they're facing issues. So one thing is when the STACKBOX app is communicating with the server, if you pull down on notifications, you will see that you'll see a notification, a continuous notification, which says STACKBOX live. This means that the app and our servers are communicating, it's working fine. If this is not live, probably because the data is off or for any other reason, this is probably the first troubleshooting step to see that STACKBOX live appears in the notification. Okay. Stop sharing my phone now. Right now, so coming to the portal for the items, right? So once you log in with your admin logins, this is the view that you will see. Now this portal is designed for both accessing on a laptop and also on the mobile phone. So if you open the same page on a mobile phone, it is optimized for that also. It will appear something like this. And the first page you see is the sales team. You will see all the sellers, how much stores they're supposed to do and how much they're visited. This we'll cover later. We'll just see initially the geotagging dashboard. If you click on the menu icon and go to geotagging dashboard, on the right hand corner you see the branch. So you can select which branch you want to see the data for. You can select which date you want to see the data for. And each salesman is a card. So you will see the salesman code, the name, which route or which market number they are doing for the day, beat number 5 in this case, and what is the status of the geotag. So how much percentage is geotagging is done. So in route number 5, 14 out of 14, 100% is done. And overall for the salesman, 94%. Out of 97 stores, 92 are done. If you click on the card, you can see the details for each of the market routes that you call it. Okay. And you also see, if you click on the retailers icon, you will see what is the retailer status, right? Which retailer is green or yellow, that status you can see. If for any retailer you want them to geotag the store again, you can click on allow retag button. You can click on this. This will turn to the light blue color and the salesman can do the geotagging process. If I click on this card, I will see the photograph and I can also navigate to that store if I want and all the details that are needed for the store. Okay. Also we see out here the salesman tracking, which is how much the distance the salesman has traveled today and what is the time that he has captured. If I click on this number, we see the salesman tracking. Out here in the salesman tracking, we see the start location. The red big balloon is the branch. The green big balloon is his start location. And the red balloon with the square dot, that is his current location. And I can move the scroll bar on top to see how he has traveled and which road he has covered. Any questions on this?
Yeah, no?
So using this page, you can monitor real time what is the progress of geotagging. At the bottom, you see the total number, how many total stores have been mapped for this branch, how much is pending, what is the percentage, and how many have been geotagged today. So these four numbers are shown below real time. So one question asked is, does the system capture the GPS even if the device is offline? Yes. So once the system is logged in the morning, or in the initial, if it is online, and in between the day, right, if for some reason there is no network, the system, the application still works. You can still capture do the geotagging, and the GPS is also recorded at the background. And once the phone has network, it is synced with the server. So it does work in offline because you can do the basic functionalities. If the network is not there, yes, the phone verification process will not work because that requires live data to verify the OTP. But other processes, including capturing the photograph and geotag, and the GPS tracking, that works. And the data is synced as soon as the phone is live again. I hope that answers the question. Any other questions? Okay. So this is the geotagging page, the first page. Another page that I'd like to show is the duplicates page. So if I click on the menu. Yes, for SMS verification, this requires online. So the SMS is sent with a code, and that code is verified through the backend. So there is some online communication required for that. So SMS verification will not work in offline. And also, the system works in offline, but it doesn't mean that you can switch off the internet. That is not what is recommended. The salesman shouldn't be switching data off. It should just be that, let's say there is no internet at a place, that's okay. But he shouldn't actively switch off the data. Is that clear? Jim, do you want to add anything on that?
No, I think I'll go.
We can move on, Abhishek.
Okay, yeah. The next thing I'd like to show you is the duplicates page. So you can click on the menu and go to duplicates. Now, this will load up all the duplicates identified for that branch. Now, the duplicates are not like within the branch only. If there are two branches and they have duplicates at the boundary, let's say the same store exists in both the branches, those kind of cases will also be identified. Duplicate identification is based on a couple of factors. One is the GPS location, so the store should be nearby, and if the names are similar, if the phone numbers are similar, if the address is similar, or if the photographs are similar, using these cases, the system identifies duplicate. So in this case, we see that there are two stores. I'll answer that question after this. So there are two stores which have different store codes. So 06824 and 00464. So there are two separate stores in the system. But the system has identified as duplicates based on one, the locations, which is nearby. Secondly, the names are similar, and also the photograph is similar. So this is sent, this is thrown up to the team, and they can take action on it. So they can either mark it for retag, that the salesman needs to do the geotagging of the correct store, or they can accept one and discard the other.
Question, Jim. So the duplicate can be duplicate within one seller, or it can also be duplicate present in two sellers. Same store present in two sellers.
Yes.
It can be first.
Yeah, it can be duplicate
Go ahead.
within two sellers of different branches also.
Jane, Abhishek, there are distributor boundaries in Luzon, for example, and duplicates across distributors be flagged or not?
No, currently the system will not flag duplicates across distributors.
I want
We just have to solve for that too. We can talk of that.
Yep. Go ahead, Abhishek.
Yeah. So as I said, in the duplicate stage, the admin can take action of re-tagging the duplicate stores, or he can accept one and discard one. Once this action is done, you can download the report, which is download all duplicates, and then take action on the stores in your system and ask for it, right? Is that clear? Now coming to the operations menu for the system action. So on the menu icon, click on the menu icon, and you will see your operations tab. So once it's clicked there are certain activities that you can do. All this is detailed in the presentation also, but I'll just quickly run with the important ones. So you can add branches, and the process for everything is very simple. You click on sample, the sample sheet will open up, you fill up the sheet. Right? So for, let's say for adding branches, you open the template, you fill up the details, save it, and then you upload the same sheet exactly. And this will create that action. So you can do this to add some branches, add new retailers to the branches, update the salesman leads. These kind of actions you can take. If you want to download some of our reports, you can download the retailers for one branch. You can download all the retailers for all the branches by clicking on these buttons. You can download all the users in for all the branches in so that you have this information. These buttons are very helpful.
Jane, this branch you're referring to is the distributor warehouse branch, correct?
Hello, Erin. I'm not really heard the answer. Yep, that branch is the distributor.
Okay, got it.
Abhishek, you may go.
Yeah. Anything else to cover on the portal detail?
No, I think Abhishek, we can move to the reports.
For the portal, that's it. We did the deep dive already on this one with.
Sure. Okay. So I'll move on to the report now. So this is a report format that we have, which will be sent at the end of the day to whichever email ID is specified. Right? So I'll just walk you through the report. So first we have a summary tab, which lists down all the branches of the distributor. In each branch, what is the total number of retailers? This is the total number of retailers that are assigned to a seller. So you can have more retailers, but which are not assigned to any seller, in which case they are not active stores. So these are just the active stores. Out of these active stores, how many have a valid phone number? How many have a lat long? These numbers are given. And then we have how many of these phones are verified, and how many of these lat longs are geotagged. By geotagged, we mean that it is geotagged by STACKBOX, and we have a valid photograph for those stores. Right? So those numbers appear here. We have the percentage progress, how much is the progress in terms of geotagging, and then we show the cumulative figures of geotagging for the past week, right? Past 7 days. On each day, how much geotagging was done. So this is the first is a summary report at the branch level. The second tab is a detailed sheet wherein the same information is provided at a seller level. So which seller has done how much activity. The same information is provided. So we have the client, the branch, the seller code, the seller name, and then how much retailers that seller has. Out of those retailers, how many have a phone number and lat nom, and how many of those phones are verified, how many of those lat noms are verified, and then what is the balance remaining, how much is pending to be done. That number we share. This can be used to raise every day in the morning meeting to see which sellers need to increase their coverage, etc. And the percentage is given. One column that we show is tomorrow progress. So for tomorrow's route, how much progress has been done. So let's say in tomorrow's route, out of the 21 stores, 0 have been geotagged. So this information is provided. And let's say for another seller, in tomorrow's route there are 12 stores, out of which 10 have been geotagged. So this number is provided in the evening so that you have an actionable for the next day. Next day, how much you want to cover, right? And similarly, we have for the past week, what is the geotagging done. The first number is how much geotagging was done on that day. Then in the bracket, we have the number, what is the total geotagging in the route, and the total number of stores in the route. Is this clear? So the numbers in bracket represent for that route or market what is the progress, and the number outside the bracket represents on that day how many stores were geotagged.
Yeah, just to reinforce, this report will come every day at the end of the day. So while planning for the day, this can be a very good enabler in terms of identifying all the gaps and planning for fixing it during the day. And so any questions on the report, both on summary and the details one, anyone?
Seems like there's no questions. So I'll go ahead and present the support structure. So post this call, let me share my screen. Thanks, Abhishek.
Abhishek, just one question on the chat that I can see, which is how much data is needed, do all the activities needed in a year?
I've not had this question before, so I won't be able to answer immediately. But I think I've not had this question before because it isn't much.
Yeah, I can tell you from my India experience, it isn't significant for sellers to be worried about. Yeah, sure. Jit, please move.
Okay, so for support structure, for post this training, once we've started to ramp up on STACKBOX activities, so we've already set up Viber groups. I think for some of the distributors, we already have it. So the ITMs will be there together with the whole STACKBOX team that's dedicated for Philippines. If there will be any issues, then we can send it via Viber. In the case that we'll need, very specific video calls on more critical and more pressing issues, then we can also do, or the STACKBOX team can also do video call. Request service levels, there's just, expectations in terms of the type of issues that will be encountered. So the corresponding response times and resolution times are already indicated as well in this slide. So for those distributors who don't have the Viber group set up yet, so I just wanted to also follow through with the ITMs who are in this call to create it already, include myself, and then I'll add as well Manish there, so that we can facilitate, the issue resolution faster. Okay, and then final reminders for after post today's meeting. So number one is on making sure that the seller trainings are scheduled. So it's going to be a trainer type of training. So today we've trained all the ITMs as well as the OMs. So by tomorrow or early next week, I know for some distributors they have already penciled in Monday next week as the seller training. So this one is the quick next step for everyone. We'll need the distributors' help to set up the seller trainings already, and inform us in case you know that we can also extend it to the STACKBOX team in case you know there will be more questions coming from the field sales team. Number two is once we've communicated, the sellers can already start testing, you know, their application logins to ensure that the logins are working, the route plans have been loaded correctly, and so we can correct. Third reminder is that the sellers should always have a fully charged device every start of day. So right now, I know the sellers are using, you know, IDSFA and with STACKBOX also that's running in the background. Then we'll really need to make sure that the sellers have a fully charged device every day. And then fourth item is that sellers to log into STACKBOX. So I think that based on the BCSI execution, most of the time the sellers actually forget to log into STACKBOX. This is like the first thing that they need to do at the start of the day before they leave the warehouse. So again, the STACKBOX login is so it's S plus the seller's ID login ID. So it should be fairly straightforward and easy to remember. So I'll be sending as well a deployment kit. For the deployment kit, it will have the geotagging video, the corresponding training manuals, and then the links. So the link to the APK will be here, as well as the link to the portal, which Abhishek shared earlier for the supervisors, for the admins, and for the IPMs. Any questions? Any final questions, clarifications? Yes, Drew.
Yeah, so that everyone's on board. When is the target completion date for this geotagging? Maybe Manny, you can answer. Manny.
Yeah, so Drew, we are looking at closing everything which is 100% stored geotag phone numbers by 31st of August. And I would request all the RGMs to reinforce that so that there is no delay. We've committed these dates and we hold ourselves accountable to 31st August.
Tomorrow, install na to.
Copy that. August 31st. So at least everyone's ready.
Total site na to.
Manage anything else? Like we have this.
No, that is all unless there are questions.
Di, tanan ko
Jim, Eric here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, there's a link already for the seller, and thank you for that. We can use that to
Leon tired?
train
Yes,
the
ma'am.
sellers.
Okay, sige ma'am. Saka lang.
Okay, so that
Thank you, ma'am.
the DSS maybe in the OMs so that they can be reminded.
Okay, so primarily, just so we understand the need, it's primarily to track the progress of the sellers.
Yes,
So
right.
that you should be able to
Yep.
understand.
That's what Eric must have meant is that manipulating that dashboard or that portal thing. Just the Excel report, right? Okay.
Yes, correct. The board, the supervisor. Okay. Anything else? Just double checking the chat. Yeah, no more questions here. Alright, so I think I can close this session already. So thank you everyone for joining. So I'll be sending the materials via email again, and then just a reminder again for the first one to set up the seller trainings already. Thank you. Thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Saan na power bank? Saan na power bank? Where siya? Nasa na?